Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Bobby Sapphire. We're going to talk about the competitive scene in just a minute. I have to shout out these PQ winners from our community and top 8 placings. Shout out to Ibo, who won the Bury St. Edmunds PQ, going to a 23-person event and taking that down. Shout out to Glaive, who won the Knoxville PQ. Shout out to Oak Turnal and Eekfoil, who both made top 8 in Dallas. Cody F. and Gundy made the final table in Minnesota, with Cody F. taking it and Sabine. We had another all KTOD community top final table in Oregon, where Jay Fire beat my old friend Chibitron Graham. We also shout out to Woo and Alex Blandon, who made the final table at the New Jersey PQ, with Woo taking the win there. And finally, we had Eric top 8 in Rochester. And we had Picardi the Third take down the Illinois PQ. So shout out to all the winners, and let's check out the podcast. Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Bobby Sapphire, and it is time for the KTOD radio podcast. I've got with me my little brother, KTOD Maddie. What's up, Matt?
Good evening, gentlemen. This is a double feature for those who are in the know. We are just rolling, and I'm feeling a little loopy.
Yep, it's Mother's Day weekend, so Justin requested that we record early, and here we are, recording early.
Yeah, but happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Happy Mother's Day to our great moms,
future moms,
and future moms, our wives that are great moms, just all the KTOD community moms. Happy Mother's Day.
Absolutely.
And Mom Mothmas.
And the Mom Mothmas, who are just getting after it at their daughters' weddings because their friend just murdered their childhood friend. So
yeah, that was kind of crazy.
That was a lot. Spoiler alert!
Oh yeah,
boy.
It's pretty vague. spoiler.
Ugh,
all right, I'll beep it out. All right, well, PQs are back, but we are living in a data vault world. We've got some absolutely insane Legends of the Force spoilers to talk about. And then with a special treat where we do a Patreon-only podcast every Thursday to sort of prep people for the weekend. We call it our tournament prep podcast, and we're going to end this episode with a clip from that so people can see what that's like in case they're interested in a subscriber-only podcast. If you subscribe for the podcast, you do get access to the Discord and all our deck lists as they update. So,
and that's an every week feature, so obviously ours is bi-weekly, but that one's an every week. It's fun. It's definitely more casual. We'll be kind of hanging out, but also, talking about what we would play on the upcoming weekend and sharing our lists and what we'd be doing.
It's a fun hang, but it's a focused discussion.
Right. It gets a little more in the weeds. The other cool thing too is like if one of our guys does well or has a deck that we really want to highlight, like we just had Tada on after his top 8, things like that. So we don't really do guests on this one. This is just us, the boys, but we do have guests on that one, and we get really noodly. Like I'll talk about 3 drops for like 10 minutes, and everyone will tune out and look at their phone.
Sometimes people will ask for weeks to be interviewed on our podcast, but that is for the Patreon only podcast. So
you got it.
My DMs will be closing now. Thank you. All right. If you didn't know, we make videos on YouTube. You might be watching this podcast on YouTube, but we have a couple Data Vault videos. We've got meta reviews. We're in the middle of PQ season. We've got one more regional qualifier after the one in Leil, and 2 sector qualifiers, 4 sector qualifiers. So we're just in the throes of this meta, and really, I think a lot of us are just hoping that it goes well and quick so we can get to the Worlds meta. And all these previews that we talk about over the course of these podcasts, they are all leading up to what are we playing at Worlds in Vegas in July. So
100%. We're getting ready for Vegas. I actually recorded a video for this upcoming week today. I'm really excited to talk about this one. It's sort of the psychology of mistakes, of like what you do when you throw games away and you make bad choices within games. We all played at a PQ this last bad decisions. We all played at a PQ this last week, and I went 5-2. I lost my winning in. I also lost earlier in the tournament, and I've got those sort of moments in my mind where I'm like, I should have done this. So one of the things I did when I got home was I actually got out a notebook and I just wrote out the sequencing of everything that I did wrong, and then in retrospect what I would do. And in the video I talk about, I'm really happy, I'm really excited the way this one came out, because it's sort of this psychological internal battle that you have with yourself sometimes. Shame involved in messing up. There's the analytics of messing up. There's sort of the anger of, not anger, but the frustration of your opponent potentially like drawing their good cards. It's natural. They're going to draw good cards. They're trying to win too. So kind of talking about the dichotomy of how that all works. So that'll be dropping later this week.
Yeah, and we both lost our winning in. And you lost on stream. I lost like a pseudo winning in where if I had gone 5-0, I could double draw. So I kind of lost 2 winning ins this past weekend, which is like the hard part. But when you go 5-0 in a 7-round event, if there's 4 undefeateds after that point, which there should be, you get to draw, intentional draw, which that's new to the PQ quest for me. Mm-hmm. So I get to lose that one on stream and then lose in the final round. So I'm with you there, and I'll be looking forward to that video. We have a VIP tier, which is insane. These people are super supporters. We have a new VIP, Psycho Hazard. Welcome into the crew. He said we are back to prime. Crew, we are back to a prime number. No, I mean not a prime number, but a more round number. He liked 9 better than 8. So
9's good. I like him. The Mighty 9. We really appreciate you guys having number. Like people who are willing to onboard themselves to like an nth degree and support us in that way. And you know, it's nice to, like, it's nice if you see the red sweatshirts, that's the VIPs. Say what's up. We really appreciate them. It's a good group. So
yeah, it's great. It's great hanging at the big events like in Denver. We were hanging with M and Emma Rahil. Happy Mother's Day to M as well. Mm-hmm. But just like the overall vibe. Oh, and Rick. We were hanging out with Rick in Denver. So it's just a great energy. Definitely help, appreciate the support. Couldn't do it without this crew.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got our shop on Fourth Wall. We have our premium gear, which I don't know if you guys saw, but Steve made some shirts for us that are on the way.
I did see that.
Steve made my favorite shirt, this premium soft shirt. Fits the best, it looks the best, and he made ones that match all my Nikes. I sent him pictures of my Nikes, and he made shirts to match my Nikes.
He made Bulls because
you rock the red and black Jordans,
and red black was our color, and I was a huge Bulls fan growing up. Like the height of MJ I was a teenager then, and I just love black and red, so I'm super excited to rock that with my Jordan 1s, man.
Yeah, and then our Sabines, not our Sabines, our KTOD masterpiece boxes have begun to ship. People really loved the deck boxes at the PQ. So many people are like, "Wow, I did not think that was what the deck box looked like."
Yeah,
which insane. Was sick. Yeah, I've said it before, but like, I always seek to make things that I would want, and we selfishly made this deck box because it is what we wanted out of a deck box. So
it's perfect size. It's like deck stuff you need, like experience and all that. And then like you can just basically go to the tournament with just that, which is absolutely nuts.
I have mine right here too. Hold on.
Mike's going in. No, it's just me, guys. What's up with your boy Bobby Sapphire?
Oh, Maddie went and got his too.
It was just me for a bit. I controlled all of the KTOD. It's me.
So it holds my deck shell. It actually can hold 2 of these stacked up.
What do you have, your little token thingy? Oh, your pot in the bottom.
Oh, I carry like a whole token.
Oh, you?
So I took out my insert. Like I have this right, but because I'm a data vault boy, I have like, I took out and used it for my sideboard, and then I put all my Metal Fab tokens. Shout out to Metal Fabs, are in here.
That's great.
Yeah, I need a Metal Fab slide because I always do forget. This podcast is sponsored by Metal Fab. Thanks to Metal Fab. Even though it's like on every slide, I forget to mention it.
The boxes are so sick. You got the tokens can go there. The pen can go sideways. Hyperloop. Shout out Hyperloops. Pen goes diagonal. Shout out to Pythagoras. Like this is some dope stuff in here.
Yeah,
I love the box. You can fit everything in there that you need, and so you just carry the little box around.
Yeah, and then some of the boxes have a free hoodie in them in the form of a golden ticket.
Oh, the golden ticket, yeah.
Which this is an extra that I got.
When we go to Minnesota, we should get a box for all of our friends, Maddie's oldest friend, one of Maddie's oldest friends, Jason Ford, so that Jason can kick it.
Yeah.
I wish I was a good video editor because I would put the GIF of him doing it right over our video.
Yeah.
Maybe
we got to figure out how to do that.
Actually, Matt, if you can send me the video, I think I know how to do it.
You know what that happened at?
out.
A 3v3 tournament, which
Yes.
is pretty insane. He lost. He was the deciding match in a 3v3 tournament, and it's like on SCG coverage. And you see him get up, and then you can see like him walk around the table, and then the top corner of the video, he just drop kicks his sealed deck because they got eliminated.
Well, I think
my
they
boy
already watched
Jason
it
Ford.
because I put it on the overlay, so it'd be great.
Oh, nice. Well, then you see it. You heard my play-by-play. Great Magic player, even better friend.
Yeah, he
Can't wait to see him in Minnesota.
He always DMs me about movies. He DM'd me about Chronicles the other day, so I rewatched Chronicles so I could have a conversation with him.
That
The
sounds
Chronicles of
lovely.
Riddick?
No, like the Michael B. Jordan, Dane DeHaan get superpowers on accident video, like
that.
movie from like 2005 maybe.
Didn't notice it.
KTOD Maddie hasn't posted a new video in a while, but he's been doing Maddie style videos on the main feed and and on the Discord.
Yeah.
So as Patreon only. So if you're looking for your dose of Maddie, just click those if you're a subscriber. If not, hit that Patreon button and get more Maddie in your life.
Yeah,
Maddie's
it's just,
back.
I'm back.
Maddie,
It's just
you're
like
back,
there's
baby.
Maddie's back.
there's so much going on that like between everything, like the KTOD Maddie YouTube will exist and things will go there. But like today, I did a little Patreon video to send some love there. I did the YouTube. That's just where I'm gonna be for a bit. So
Yeah, it's grassroots, man. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
we're in the different channels in the Discord. We're doing videos. I recorded today. We've been streaming. We've had some great stream sessions internally. Shout out to Will, also from who won
Richmond,
Yeah, Will
Richmond. He's
O'Neill.
been
Second
super
one.
active in our Discord. Got a Sabine tattoo. And has been
I love when
streaming in the Discord. Like
Yeah.
Sabine Thoughts has been super active. He's like emerged, right? It was like it started out with like me and CJ in that channel, and then it was Yakko, and then it became like Blake got in there, and now we've got Will in the Sabine chat. And there's just like it's grassroots. So like Maddie, you're gonna drop a video on the channel, you're gonna drop a Patreon video, Mike's dropping stuff. We've got people streaming, we've got deck champions, right? Like I'm sure those 6 PQ wins with Kira, I'm sure there's some people in our group talking about how to sideboard, so
Yep, shout out to
Some
Derek
real good
Schwartz
stuff.
Music, one of our other subs. He won a PQ. I
he's-
can't remember what deck he won with off the top of my head. but-
Quinlan Targentown. He's deep in the thread. He's got some content coming out. Gonna go over some of his matches too and post it. So
Yeah,
it's
I mean, I love people win. They get hyped. They start making videos. They look
Love
for
it.
an audience. They use the 1,600 person Discord that they're in with other competitive minded players. So it's kind of just,
hopefully those
sick.
people who win become us soon.
it would be nice. It
I
would
would
be
love
nice
to
to
not
be
be
1,
me
2, and
anymore.
3, and not 12, 13. And
You
14.
have been.
That was
I will.
different.
Can we just, Maddie? Can we take a moment just to talk about like Mike's unbelievable, like continuation of just
It doesn't stop.
like coming in second at a PQ, coming in fourth at a PQ, coming in
Coming in
eighth
12th at a
coming in
PQ.
second at a PQ, winning but
Winning ins,
losing
man.
like 2 winning ins at a PQ, going like 7-0 at Denver, and then not getting in the top 8. Like if this game had a little bit more like in Magic they would talk about like the pro season of like where someone was doing like event to event to event, like you're already known, but like this season would be like a storyline of like that you come so close on so many occasions.
I'm
Yeah.
curious how many points you would have. Like, I want to go back, like, next year when they announce the points, I want to go back retroactively and, like, see how many points
Yeah,
that you would have by now.
I'm going to be playing day 1 of Worlds and I'm going to be like, how many points would this have been? How many points
Yeah.
would I have gotten? But yeah, it's cool. I'd like to win. Whatever. The grind never stops. That's all I have to say about that. I worked all day. I went and spent family time at our parents'. I walked in the door. I kissed my kids goodnight. Kissed my wife, walked right upstairs, changed my shirt, hit record. And I'm
Get it,
recording
man.
for 2 hours until I go back down and, I don't know, watch your friends and neighbors with my wife. We've got one more stop on the world tour. Justin's currently selecting a bar for Minnesota. I ordered some goodies. We are out of playmats, but I ordered some goodies to hand out. I hope people enjoy just a chill meet and greet at the bar with some cool stuff.
That was
This
so
one's
that's
definitely. Go ahead, Maddie.
Richmond. Like, I gotta say, like, shout out to everyone who came to Richmond. We had a really big space, a little bit smaller of a hang because I think people were still traveling in. It was like more of a drivey destination, but we still had I don't know, 30, 40 people, but just big open space. People were just making friends with people they've been talking to, playing arcade games. So like, thanks to everyone who came to that and like the chill vibes and like made it very easy on me to get everyone their stuff and just kind of like not be stressed about being the only KTOD guy there. So
Right, you was just doing that one.
The vibes.
Minnesota, I think that's the angle that we will be having in Minnesota as well.
Yeah, we're also getting in later to Minnesota. It's not like we're gonna be there all day. Like I'm getting in at 6, and the hang is probably at 7,
I think we're both arriving at the same time. So yeah, it's really about the friendships and just meeting people face to face, and we'll have great energy, and I'm looking for a place that's got some tasty morsels and some beverages, but it'll be a great time to see everyone. And then play the next day.
I just booked a 10,000 square foot mansion as the Airbnb. It's got a mounted Rams head on the wall, so that's good for a Patriots fan. All right, we're going to talk about Leil, the first of the 2 regional qualifiers. This event was streamed by Fanfinity, which did a truly incredible job. They had Wasi, who is like the world's Pokemon streamer, on there for a while. I didn't get to watch too much coverage. I was playing and busy on Saturday. But it was won by Sabine Green, but not the one you think. It was won by Sabine Datavault, which is truly wild. Anakin 30 came in second, which I love. There was a Sabine ECL in the top 4. Shout out to Eroth, one of our subscribers. Like, super active, awesome
super
guy.
Active.
And then I'm So Humble was the 4th in the top 4 with Quinlan Tarkentown, but pretty meta repped top 8 here. I think the story of the tournament going through the day
leaders
was the Ray Datavault that made top 8. Yeah, Sarah, who's obviously done very well in the European events. Was he the 1C? I don't know if he was the 1C, but he gets a draw in. Like he did phenomenally. We'll check out his list in a minute. But that was definitely the talk of the tournament. But now it's Sabine, and now it's Datavault is the talk of the tournament. 860 players, a lot of green. The green meta is back. The Datavault meta is here. You guys have any
3
thoughts on this top 8?
in the finals and
3 Datavaults in the it's wild.
Top 8. I mean, yeah, it's just like it really came to play. Like, you could expect to see Kira, obviously, because like of its debut at Richmond, but like the people who were kind of like Ray and Sabine, I thought that is like such a cool, interesting innovation to find an angle on the meta and like get rid of some of those race lines people are used to being able to like close the door on Sabine when she has 25 HP in a dream, but 33 presents a different challenge, so it was really interesting. It's funny to say like Sabine won Richmond and Leil, but in just 2
different ways. Yeah. And the Sabine list was interesting. So like I did test that a little bit, and I woke up to DMs there and messages in the Discord of like, Justin, you're going crazy in that Darksaber list that you've got. And I went, it wasn't close to the list that won. It was 6 3 Darksabers, 3 General's Blades. It was basically just adding units and adding levels of curve. Like I had 3 Chewbacca's and 3 Poes, and I had General Rikens, and it wasn't like the tech that this deck had with
I've got it up on screen now. Only lost 1 game
all that stuff
to Han Yellow, which generally a tough matchup for Sabine, but
because you get raised.
Right. And Cunning is obviously great there, but beat Ian. Is that his name? Econo Junior? Is that? What's his name?
We just call him Junior.
Junior. Sorry, just Junior.
Yeah, that is Junior.
Beat Junior. Beat Sip. Beat I'm So Humble. Drew against Yasura. It looks like that was in ID before the top cut. But yeah, insane run, and here's the list up. I only skipped ahead to it because Justin was talking about the list. I don't know if there's anything specific you wanted to say. I think the Radis was the real like holy cow. There's Radis in the Sabine list.
There's some crazy, just awesome innovation, and what it's not even necessarily. I wouldn't even say innovation, because that sort of means that the last version is like the stepping stone. Like this is just a cool deck. Like the guy played a lot of cards that don't see play, like Radis and Senatorial Corvette in main decks.
Frisk
are not. Those have been around. Like those are set 3 cards Frisk is a set 4 card that really hasn't been played at all, and um, you see, and then it's just a really fascinating deck. Wrecker, but then you've got the high end. We talked about on Tournament Prep podcast this week. We talked about the Adelphis. He's got 3 of those.
Yeah, Wrecker, but not like say Cham. Like Cham's obviously in the sideboard, but like you're just like,
Crate
okay,
Dragon.
if I'm going big, it's just a 7/6, and if not, it's just we'll do our thing and we'll row those Redises, I guess. Like I got to go back and see the games, but I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a very cool way to do it. But I do want to rewind and talk a little bit about just the bases. Out of the 860, 409 green bases, and they had a 51.6% win rate. The next best win rate among bases was blue, and it was 50.5. All the others had below 500 win rates overall. But the counts were, there were twice as many greens as any other individual color,
and that's somewhat because of like Django's gone, so the Tarkin Town's down, and DJ's down, and it feels now like the Han Green is probably the most played Han 1 deck.
Yeah.
Right.
Which obviously has to play a green base. And then you see this rise in Data Vault. So, and the ECL is still really strong. So, like, you've got these gravitational forces that are sort of pulling the green decks. I imagine a lot of those 195 are Cad and Quinlan on, like, the Tarkin, still holding the Tarkin Town, front for everyone. And then the blue bases just being, like, more the control-y, like Bosk Blue type stuff. I don't totally know.
Yeah, and Anakin.
The other key to it,
Help Colossus.
Anakin, yeah.
Right. The other key is like there's a not. If you look like to be able to play Data Vault, you like unless you're gonna go mono green, aren't a green leader. And like honestly, kind of looking at the leaders just really quickly, like
good point.
Green leaders probably are in the weakest spot. Like, yeah, you can tell me all about Grand Moff Tarkin and Vader 4. We like Vader 4's cool. And we can talk about, I know there's the Piet homies, but like that is a piece of the puzzle that like, yeah, I think Data Vault Palp is probably the best double green. But it's like you can't play Data Vault if you're going to be in one of these other colors.
And it feels honestly a lot like early set 1 when it was like everyone had to play green because you had to play Resupply, you had to play Super Laser Tech, you had to play Overwhelming Barrage.
Or ECL.
It was just or ECL, and it was just like the whole world was green. But then we found all the yellow cards, and that kind of shifted. But now we're all back to green.
It's so funny because before the bans, we were saying like, there's not really a barrage deck. There's not really a Super Laser Tech deck. Like they weren't around. I mean, they just weren't being played. And now it's like, Django's gone. All right, it's Kira's time to shine because. Those cards now are able to be not locked down by triple dark raid on 4, which is more powerful, right? Or like DJing you out, which is more powerful.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is what we saw on the PQ level. Like we just talked, we talked about in the tournament prep pod. We didn't see it in the graphic, but like Kira did have an insane weekend this past.
Yeah, Kira won 6 out of the 13 PQs week 1. This is being recorded a little early because of Mother's Day, so we don't know who's winning the week 2 PQs. Mm-hmm. I might do a little add-in to just address it quickly, but I expect Kira. We all expected Kira to be a very popular and very successful deck in week 2.
And part of that hyping the Kira.
Part of that is just because I don't really know what consistently beats it, and that doesn't seem to be something that anyone can really answer. I haven't heard of that, at least.
It plays so many solid cards, the Kira Data Vault deck. Like, if you actually look at like the cards, 60 cards, but 3 Darth Vaders, 3 Mauls, 3 Overwhelming Barrages, 3 Super Laser Tech, 3 Resupplies, like 3 Power of the Dark Sides. It's playing so many
Super
good
Laser
cards.
Blast,
Yeah.
Super Laser Blast, and then you've got the top end of the Avengers and Devastators. You've got it's just got so much. Like what bad card? And then it's got like removal. Like the worst card in the deck is probably like, and then it's just Sentinels, right? Like it just has it all. That Flying Saucer is super good. It's no glory in this meta. is
Yeah,
so
No
good.
Glory is
Like,
really insane.
Right.
It's
The one thing
so
you thought you
insane.
could do was Chewbacca, but now you can't even do that.
Right.
So insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Glory, like against Anakin, like I would just No Glory. I mean, obviously the dream would be like
Yoda.
Obi-Wan, but Yoda was an
Yeah.
easy one. Yoda I did a lot. If you're in the Kira mirror, don't let your opponent. I know it sounds like, oh, they're just killing. No glorying a freaking super laser attack to steal their ramp and go up.
Don't let him do it.
Oh yeah,
If you get double
resupply
ramp on them,
into
it's-
No
yeah.
Glory, and then all of a sudden you're at
Yeah,
6, and
they're cooked to be do that.
it's over. I have the high ground.
It's over. You do not play it on to 5 open mana. Just don't do it.
I did also want to shout out SwoobBase.com, this new website. Let's see if it's on this page. That just has all this metadata imported from Melee. It's crazy, all the charts that they did. Like, I had to just pick and choose a couple for the podcast, or else we'd be here all freaking day. But one of the ones I really liked was the match win-loss records for the popular leaders. And you can do all matches. You could do day 2 player matches. You can do custom filters. You can do it by leaders. You can do it by bases. You can do it by leader and bases. You can do it by win percentage. It's just like infinitely customizable. I think this site is going to straight up change the game of how we look at
really
tournament
cool.
data. And especially when we have an 860 person event like we did, we can learn a lot about, Sabine going 67 and 43 against Quinlan. And
Can you? Oh, go on. Sorry.
This is just an image, so I can't really.
No, I know, but like, there's a filter section. Like, what would be really cool is they could filter it by like rounds too. Like, if I could see like late round match,
maybe
you know
you can.
what I mean. Say you wanted to like cut off some of the chaff, and you're like, all right, after round 5, in this bracket, like. But anyway, the matchup data is really interesting. Like, I'm like really into this.
Yeah,
this is great,
and it's cool
and
to see
that Kira.
Yeah,
you see that Kira against Sabine 48 and 31. That's certainly an impressive win rate for Kira. It's got green pretty across the board. The Boss Blue one's interesting. But this is where your mind goes with data like this, right? You're like, oh, Boss Blue's good into Kira. Then you go down to Boss Blue, and then you're like, oh, Boss Blue isn't so good into Han, smaller numbers, but 2 wins, 5 losses. And then you get that's why we're card players. We're like, oh, this beats this, but it loses to this. No.
Yeah, it's then the other thing is
world
here. There's like no mirror data for some reason. Like the Sabine versus the Sabine is blank, so obviously there were Sabine mirrors. But so that could be a user error, but this was the default. But I thought it would just make some interesting talking points here. And just shout out that website.
All right, Mike, stop. Time out. What do you think the numbers would be there?
Yeah, it would just be even. All the mirrors have to be
they're
even.
even.
That's why it's.
This was actually. Let me interject here. This was. This happened this past season.
I would want to know the number though.
And a math teacher. Like the overall number played.
Yeah. How many?
A basketball coach said this, and he said he was trying to talk about parity in his conference. And he said, "Did you know that inside of our conference, the number of wins and number of losses are even in conference play?" And like it was like this big thing, and like and the media was like, "Wow!" That like the little press crew was like, "That's crazy," and it went viral of like, "Oh boy."
Yeah. Whatever.
But
I've got bad math concepts in my head before, but yeah, you're right. It should be even, but I would still want to know the win and loss.
I would like to know
how many were actually played. Yeah, because this does have the numbers, right? It does. Like we have 110 games. Quinlan versus Sabine.
Right.
A lot of games, Quinlan versus Sabine.
Yeah. Let me look at the.
And I think it's cool to see the overalls. Like Kira overall went 245 and 186. Like, that's
Quinlan did well into
Han Green
Cad
170,
Bane, which like is traditionally pretty hard.
So you could extract that if you wanted to. You could add all those games up, and then you could see that it played 30.
Yeah, and this chart goes further. I just cut some of it to fit on the podcast, but
I'll tell you this. The first 2 figures you see on Quinlan is why I stopped playing Quinlan, even though I think the deck has got a lot of power.
Sabine,
losing win rate into both Sabine and Kira. That's not where you
and the
want
Han
to
Green. Like it's just like the 3 big meta players that you think are really tough.
That's why I dropped it.
Yeah.
But and you see it.
Good.
The nice thing about this is you see like you recognize it's not you on some of these things. Like it's kind of proof of what your ideas are, right? Like Emperor Palp into Sabine. We sometimes don't test that because we think it's bad, and guess what?
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's
bad.
bad.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. Like CAD. One thing I'll say, CAD into Sabine, being negative. That's a big blemish against and Quinlan. That's a big blemish for CAD. Because those are matchups you're supposed to be pretty good at, and I think Kira is actually like a matchup you really don't. That was actually 8 and 9. It feels like you should, if you're playing CAD, you're playing it because you're beating up on the slightly smaller aggro-y mid-range decks, and you're able to have the early kill and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this
a lot of red
goes
for
like when you combine all four regionals plus all four sectors plus the regional, and like look at all that data. This is really just the tip of the iceberg of what you can do with SwoobBase.com. So
this is great.
please go check it out.
We're gonna be all fiddling with this. It'll be like,
yeah, get lost.
I should
lost in it.
I went up to bed 30 minutes ago, and I'm just putting all these filters in.
Yeah, I don't have
Han
time.
Green, 41 wins, 10 losses against Sabine.
Okay, wild.
Well,
a lot of AT,
Sabine
being played there. All right,
this is great. I love data.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
All right, so we could
have stayed on that forever.
Shout out to Eroth, who was rocking. This looks like Will's list, but maybe slightly different. A couple things that jump out to me, Justin, are only 2 Forecause, only 2 Darksaber, and main deck Confiscate.
The two Darksaber Will was on that too. It seems weird, but I played through this past weekend and I did feel a little clunky at times. The main deck Confiscate's really cool. He's also playing 2 copies of Red 5, which is really cool. He was aware of the sort of Han 2 lists that were popping up, or maybe heard about it, or maybe expected it. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that's kind of a cool card against Han 2. It's also interesting against Kira, because even though they're shielded, there's a lot of bloody units out there. So that's kind of nifty. And you kind of like finish off a Sentinel if the game goes that way with the Red 5. Like you do have to tack into a Sentinel, but then maybe it finishes it off instead of having to do something else. So
yeah, and it just does a little more like Sabine's Masterpiece type work, where it's just pinging units and clearing the way on as it gets in.
Combos does combo with Sabine's Masterpiece to put damage on something and then essentially do 3 damage to anything. So I really like that card.
Yeah, Red 5's great.
This does look pretty straightforward, and I think his take is a solid one of just like play a solid list, take the homework that Will started, add a few tweaks as you see fit. Will had mentioned in our Discord that the medal ceremonies really weren't needed. He played 2 in Richmond, so that gave Eroth a little room to work with. That's probably, I'd imagine they kind of became the Red 5s, and then Confiscate was sort of I'm going to play a Forecause in the sideboard. I'm going to switch with a Confiscate because that's a huge blowout if it happens. And outside of that, it's pretty much identical list. Cool. Actually, it is the identical list.
Yeah, well, good to see the work that's coming out of the Discord, like showing up here, and again, congrats to Eroth. This is the Anakin that was in the top cut. In general, I've said that I like the Anakin 30 slightly better than the, or I guess a lot more than the Colossus. And this is a more, this is a little weirdly a mix between the two. It doesn't do Steel Guerrero, but it's playing 3 main deck Pillage, and then it's got the R2 and 3PO to sort of like grind some card advantage. It's got no Bravado, no Lightsabers, which is something that you do see out of a lot of Anakins that aren't going that Steeler route. But
yeah, Red Squadron X-Wing in the sideboard and Fangs in the main. Interesting.
Yeah, and no Obi-Wan either to help protect the Anakin flip. So
I really like Obi-Wan.
What's that?
I think Obi-Wan's one of those underplayed cards because
I still love it.
I think he like kind of went in the wayside because of Cunning, and Cunning's not played very much right now. So I think people might have a sort of false narrative on Obi because I don't know, all these your leaders are Jedi, so being able to draw a card, put two counters as your protection is
Yeah, I mean, I really
it's a
like buffing
spell.
Anakin. I find that like Anakin carrying the day is one of the most important things. But I would imagine that the card advantage of the droids plus pillage went a long way towards
Yeah.
Yeah,
ZKY.
Probably just had a full grip. You know, they could have played the hammerhead.
Yeah,
definitely could
This
have
deck
played the
could.
hammer.
Drawn a lot of cards. Get that hammerhead in there.
And Anakin is a deck that just won't go away. It just keeps performing well at these big events. It keeps showing up in some form. It showed up in the top 4 in Richmond. It straight up won Liverpool, right? So, or did it lose in the finals to Liverpool? In Liverpool, I think Bosk won Liverpool, right?
Boss won and lost in the finals,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. It's on its own. Maybe this is just I'm speaking sort of my own personal views, but it feels like it's sort of its own like crew. You know what I mean? Like, no, you're an Anakin person. It's sort of like you
Badge
might
of
go to a
honor.
bar and like, are you an Anakin person? Oh, you're an Anakin person. Oh, I'll buy you
Well-
around. Like it doesn't feel like people toggle on it. Like if you're an Anakin guy, you kind of just stay with it and you probably understand the matchups. I haven't. I mean, I probably played like 5 games of Anakin ever. You know, but I played hundreds of games with Kira, even though I've never actually played at a tournament. So
Right.
I do think Anakin has that energy on it.
Yeah, I mean the cool thing about Anakin is like, and again, I probably like a little bit of some kind of saber is like, if you do not kill Anakin and you mess up, like that guy is just gonna either one tap you or like hit you, claim untap, kill you. Like it really just get out of hand. So having that in the deck, and then like as we're gonna see like more shields, like the Outer Rim Outlaws probably doing a lot of work there too with the droids and village protectors. Is super annoying to deal with because it can hit in for 4 shielded if they don't pop the shield first. So can fight on the ground pretty well. But yeah, I agree. I would have liked to see an Obi. Come on, son. You got to use that Obi you got at the. Mine's still
on day 1.
Yeah.
And then of course this is the Rey Data Vault list that Yehosera ran. A lot of interesting choices here, as most of his lists do feature interesting choices. 2 Alliance Dispatcher, 3 Clone Disorder. He's a 3 Mon Mothma. He's fighting with weenies. He's buffing them up with Rey. He's got techs here. I like the Sundari Peacekeeper ad. I thought that was really cool. Probably using that Bright Hope to draw cards as often as he can with all these cheap units. Spark of Hope to ramp.
Draws a trillion cards.
Yeah.
Because Mon Mothma draws cards, Yoda draws cards, the droids draw cards. You know, Ewing Reinforcement gets to like play 3 things, and maybe one of them's Mon Mothma that draws a card. Like it's just drawing cards. It's playing. Home 1 is better than drawing cards.
Shout out Captain Rex, the first time he's ever been in a card sleeve.
Shout out to
that is crazy.
Clone Deserter. Like, here's a Clone Deserter. You killed it. You drawed a card. Okay, cool. I'm gonna draw 5 more cards. Like, I think this deck's really, really good personally. I think it's taken it to the next level of what Steve kind of did in Denver with this extra life and getting to the home 1s and the Lukes and that portion of the game. And Steve took the route of Sentinels and experience tokens, or not experience, shields on Sentinels. And here we've got experience tokens on more Restore. So, and then Rey having Restore. So it kind of just took that. Another neat thing about this deck that I do really, really like is like if the graph on this was like the curve, I mean, the number of just small things it's able to play while still having like the top end is great. Like there's there's a 3-drop and then there's Luke Skywalker for the ground units. And then there's like,
that's insane. Yeah.
there's like Bright Hope and then Home 1. Like, and granted you want like, I like Obi-Wan and stuff like that and but like it makes sense. Like you're putting like a bunch of little units out. You're putting shields on them. You're like making all these little death by 1,000 cuts and life by 1,000 restores.
Yeah, that deck, like I played a few games against it with like Han 1 Data Vault, like trying to outgrind it. And some of their late Ewings, like you're like, okay, like, you know, a Han or something, and they're like, here's a bunch of little dudes, and then we're gonna pump them up and like keep the train rolling, and you're like, fuck, like, how do I keep them? Why do they all have restore a million? Like,
I know.
And next thing you know, like these little turds are just taking you down. So I thought it was a really cool application of like, not only can you buff something in the early game, you can like make these sticky threats in the late game too, and this go wide. And so definitely seeing an uptick in that. And we obviously saw Pasquale win with a version of this deck at our PQ in Connecticut. So like, you know, this deck is on the rise, and I'm seeing it played more in the playtesting circles that we all use. So very interesting.
Yeah, and I think Pasquale winning will sort of vault it, especially since it won on stream. Shout out to McClunky, who did a great job streaming that PQ again. They always do great work, so that was really cool to watch, and draw some attention to this wild deck. All right, now we get to talk about
Speaking
Legends
of wild
of the Force. I wanted to put Reven and Malik on here because this is crazy. The gold bar on the bottom of these cards signify that they are non-canon cards. So FFG can now make non-canon cards. And Maddie, you loved Knights of the Old Republic, didn't you? Didn't you play that?
I'm scrolling. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm scrolling. I probably don't have crazy. I'm scrolling on my Steam to see how many hours. Like, I freaking love KOTOR. I like reboot it up every year. I have both of them downloaded on my Steam right now. I'm gonna play through them, not this weekend because it's Mother's Day weekend, but I'm gonna play through them maybe in the Discord. How would that be, guys? I'm gonna play through these in the Discord, in commemoration of them, because I think this is cool, and I didn't realize the gold border thing, so I think that's really awesome that they're gonna have.
Yeah, they said it on the stream.
I missed that part.
Does that mean like Prince Sizor, Mar Jade?
Yes, that means those things are open for business.
That's super cool.
Amazing.
Everything that we
Darth Jar Jar
was Darth Jar Jar.
Like
the
Lego cards.
Yeah,
would be nuts.
If they do Legos, I think that would be actually really successful. Even though like I am kind of like a purist, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want Legos, but like a Lego would.
Yeah, but look at the Magic sets now. They've got like freaking
I know
and stuff. So
I think you kind of have to.
I think eventually we could see that happening, but these are
cards
cool.
are insane, by the way. Like together, like they work really well
together. Definitely, Malik. Malik's ability, if you control a Sith leader, you may ready this unit. Obviously, we'll have to see what other Sith leaders we get. I assume Palpatine's a Sith. I assume Vader's a Sith.
Yeah, we have Sith already. We have to.
So, I don't know how good Reven is. A 3/6 for 5 isn't living that long. He does get to give out experience units for free. It's just, I have my doubts. And I
have my doubts about
his lack of color.
Lake Country. Yeah. He's bought into the Lake Country already.
It is tough if he can't get a second color. And it doesn't unless they have rare bases that are like multicolored.
Yeah, unless they like signify, right? Like use that gold symbol to be like, hey, you get to play something with a free aspect or whatever.
Who knows? Yeah, it could be. They could give more Reven helpers. It's really remains to be seen. But right now, it'd be
cool. It'd be cool if there was a base that was basically like made your, or it would have to be a base, but like almost kind of like Hera, that like made your Sith things, like all your Sith things, like not have an aspect penalty, and then like Reven would be able to like do something along those lines, like
use the Force, play a card without paying its aspect penalty.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Right.
I
hope they take more chances.
Yeah.
Is he the starter? Is Reven the starter for this or no? Because I think they got to have a matching hero only, right?
Well, what they're saying is that the hero one is also Reven.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Because his set number is 17, and there will be a heroic only leader. His set number, card number is 17, so 18 will be heroic only.
I think that's cool. My hot take, I'm gonna eat these words because I don't think Reven's gonna make it to competitive. But my hot take is like we already have Lake Country vibes coming. Like there's gonna be so many cards you can rock single aspect. Come on. ECL, green, black.
What about here's a crazy deck. The challenge is to play Reven Lake Country.
It's just
all black and gray.
only.
Yeah. All
Black
right,
and gray.
let's take a look at some cool cards. Luke Skywalker and Ezra Bridger, 2 Force units. Luke is a 4-cost 3/5. When you play another unique unit, you may use the Force. If you do, give an experience token and a shield to this unit. Obviously, 3/5 is a little underwhelming for 4, but we do see it played in Ahsoka. The fact that this can get huge... Ahsoka and Kira.
They have to do something right away.
The fact that, right, they get to do something right away. This one doesn't. But I think it's interesting that he can get buffed so hard with a shield and an experience every time you play a unique unit. And then we're seeing they're really pushing creatures in this set. Porgs, Malkili. Ezra Bridger says, on attack, you may give an experience token to another creature or Spectre unit. He's a 3/5 for 3, much better stat line. And now Blue has a Force Jedi Rebel Spectre 3/5, which is like all the traits plus the stats.
Yeah,
Ezra is insane.
Whether it's like Han 2 playing him as a 2-drop, more Hera support, or just like Force Jedi, like Force Rebel even is really good. And so these blue red hero decks are going to love to see it. More things you can force throw off of if you want that. Like, we're still seeing set 1 Rebel Synergy be one of the one of the strongest. I think Force will maybe give it a run for its money, but you have both of those in this card. So Ezra, top of the uncommon list. Of course, it's an uncommon. It's FFG. They love when they're
see. That's what
good cards are. Yeah.
Here's what uncommons. This is almost like too perfect that these are on the same slot. Because their stats are the same. Yep. One is rare, one is uncommon. The worst one is rare. The more playable card is, and Ezra, I get that Rebels was a big show and what have you, but like Luke Skywalker is a more iconic character. I hope this isn't a hot take for people. Like, Luke Skywalker is a main character. We used to say mains in the old Star Wars game, mains and toys and mains. He's the card we should want to see more in decks. And in the last version of Luke both versions of Luke so far have been playable, and this guy might be playable. But, like, why not switch these 2 cards? It would make so much more sense if Luke was the 3-cost card that was a 3/5 that gave experience. Like that. It just seems, and like the rarity, and like you could make this Ezra a legend, and he would be like probably one of the best cards and most sought after cards. And I get you want to be able to, you don't want the barriers to the game. But I also think that they need to start looking at like the resale value and like collectors too, because that's a piece. Like we want kids to be playing the game. We want like younger. We've seen a lot of like younger kids at tournaments, which is great. But I think we there should be not like something more than just like Carbonite and like showcases. Like, it would be cool if there was more Chase Rares, Chase Legends, I should say. Also. Last comment here. Hilarious that they drew this picture of Luke in portrait mode. Like, the background being fuzzy is amazing.
Yeah. This art style has shown
I
up
like the
times.
art, but just the portrait mode is just...
Yeah, it's funny. So
I think Ezra's like Cassian. He's like a Cassian. He's so powerful. He's such a good card. He's uncommon. He's got to be played in everything. Cassian.
Yeah. So Ezra's going to be played at Worlds, but will any of the others that we've seen today be played at Worlds?
I was even thinking of like from a draft perspective, and like I'm not even sure. Like Ezra in draft, if there's a lot of creatures, could also be like insane. So like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, maybe Luke, you can like kind of make him insane in draft, but I don't know. I just don't see the argument to not give Ezra a little bit of the rare like. But again, they love uncommons like Plo Koon's an uncommon, so I rest my case, Your Honor.
It's really
Spectre,
weird.
I will tell you this: Spectre is starting to get. Hera might be, an actual leader.
Data Vault Hera.
Data Vault Hera could be. It could be, man. You get to play all these other colors. Spark.
You can play Luke in the Data Vault Hera. You have so many uniques.
It's true. And then we got another Spectre leader, Force Jedi Rebel Spectre, shielded Kanan. Justin, you do not like this card. He's a 3/6. If you control a Spectre or a creature when you flip him, he gets +2/+2. Or that's a static effect, rather. But he is a shielded 6-cost leader on flip.
Yeah, he just seems like he's not as good as Rey. He's not as good as Luke. He costs 6. I mean, that's just it right there.
Well, the only thing about I don't know if he's not as good as Luke, because even though he gives a shield to very few things, you can reshield the same guy multiple times. So you could like keep shielding your Kanan. You know what I mean? You can keep shielding your Ghost.
Fun. I don't know. I mean, it's
I'm just saying,
like Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's a good card, like a good leader in a vacuum. It's comparative. I think like all the blue leaders are all Force, and they're all 6. Like, except for Chirrut, you know what I mean, or Yoda's, which is a 7. So it just feels like he's just very similar to the other ones, but I wouldn't put his ability above Luke or Rey.
I do like the reshielding aspect. I didn't really think about that too much, honestly. When he comes out of 5.8 is more impactful. 5.8 shielded is pretty sick if you have the support, which it might not be hard to. I think one of the things that makes Luke good, and I know it's just one play, but like turn 1 shield dispatcher.
Yeah. Like what's this guy doing earlier?
Yeah, like that's my fear. Like, you know, like one card that we liked a lot earlier, or like I played and, you know, Wu played, is like Chirrut. Like you didn't even have a front side. Like that's my fear, is like you can't get Kanan out at a 5.8 because you're undercasting to get the shield off. Like, okay, you want to shield Kanan? Well, you got to do it on 5 resources, and people are just like throwing pose at you and shit, and whatever the hell else is going to be coming out. So seems a bit slow. Jury's out for me on Kane and Jarrus, but
yeah,
would love to be proved wrong.
I don't have a lot of high hopes for Creature, even though they are pushing it quite a bit. But Spectre's interesting.
Spectre.
The Ezra Kanan 3-4 punch there, I think is gonna be pretty good. And who knows what else they give us.
Twin Sons, baby.
Yeah.
Kanan, Hera.
Full Twin Sons
there you go.
Together, it makes sense. I think this actually like would have been a cool unit almost, like a non-leader. I don't know.
Yeah, not a lot moving the needle for my Worlds prep, but like I think looking at this Ezra, man, like
Ezra's cool.
Are we going to be force throwing at Worlds? Like if they keep giving up stuff like this, then yeah, that's where I want to be. But a lot of force units.
The crazy thing with Ezra is like you get to think about building him out with Spectre on like Han. You get to do like the blue Quinlan we saw at one point. That could be really cool.
Yeah, I love blue Quinlan, and even like trying to like play 3 cost force throw and something like that could be really good.
Yeah, he's sweet.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was our Legend of the Force talk. Now, one of the things we talked about at the top of the show was giving you guys a peek into what our tournament prep podcast is like. So we're going to end the show with a few minutes of that so you can see what we talk about every week and, you know, consider it joining this and 94 other people who are on that tier. And then, of course, all the tiers above this tier also get the podcast. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys?
The only thing I would say is I know we don't have it on the slide, but like the prep community tier, which is like $5 more, obviously like a pretty significant investment in, you know, does have a great group, and
yeah, they do weekly tournaments right in the Discord. They're starting to branch into different time zones too, so we're seeing multiple tournaments run each week in the Discord.
A lot of good players in there.
Yeah,
a lot of really good players in there. Yeah, and I feel like that's the tournament prep podcast is somewhat linked to this group too, because it's kind of like comparative tiers, and they tap into the podcast and actually like we'll ask questions right after the podcast and be like, hey, you mentioned this, and what do you think? No doubt. So, no, excited to share.
Which is like another 100 people. How many people are in that tier? Not to derail us.
Yeah, it's like 120.
Yeah, so like, you know, not 94 in the prep tier, and then another 120 in like the one a little bit over. It's a lot of people that consume this pod, and I think the weekly pod is really solid. Is my only point I was trying to make.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and good luck at your PQs. We'll see you next time.
Happy Mother's Day.
Peace. Happy Mother's Day.
All right, so there's PQs coming up. We obviously just played. Justin played Sabine ECL. I played Han 1 Green 30. Maddie played Han 2 Data Vault. You know, we enter week 2 of PQs. We are 2 weeks away from SCG Hartford, which I don't know if you guys are going, but I'm going. I think, Justin, you're going.
Week and a half, right? I think it's next weekend.
Oh yeah, week and a half. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, week and a half.
Wife's birthday
It's coming-
weekend, so
it's coming
And
up. Yeah.
3 weeks away from the Minnesota regional. So, if you were going to a PQ weekend, this weekend, what would you be thinking, knowing that you have 2 more tournaments potentially to be playing in this set?
I can't quit Han 2 Data Vault yet.
That deck is cool. It's definitely.
I mean,
cool.
you didn't get to see it. Like,
I didn't get to see it.
You didn't
missed
get to
your
see.
turn. You missed
that
your
was
turn one play.
That
and
was
then
like
played
the worst.
like
I didn't do anything.
a
in those
unit
games.
with 1 damage left against a Sabine. Like you were just trying to hope something.
That was the closer
stuck.
game too, which is crazy.
That was a closer game, which is wild.
Yeah. The thing about the Han 2 deck, I think if you like when it's humming, like freaking Hammerhead is just absolutely insane. Blue leader for 4 to kill Sabine. You can go wide. Like your matchup into Kira. I lost to Kira, but your matchup into Kira is actually pretty good. You can outgrind them. You just have to like deal with their flip, and you have a lot of tools to do that. And this Ray Data Vault deck just won, and I think it's picking up steam. I'm seeing people play it a lot online. That's a great matchup for you. You grind better than them, believe it or not. And so in the Data Vault realm, I actually think the matchups, it grinds really well. So I think for next week, I would play Data Vault. But for Minnesota, a little higher stakes, I think Kira is still the top Data Vault deck, man. That deck is just so good. And I think we're making it better like every day. So yeah, I just would want to have a good angle on the mirror.
Yeah, the Kira mirror is going to be tough. I agree. Yeah. I like Kira Data Vault. I like Han Green still. I really can't see myself playing anything other than those 2 decks at Hartford and Minnesota. Something would really have to come out of the woodworks for me. Or I'd have to say, like, we've really cracked where the Sabine is for the specific weekend. And it's in a spot where it would be Kira. Because I do think Minnesota is going to be a Kira fest. And even though we kind of like... We don't think that Kira is that bad into Sabine. It actually, at Leil, it was positive into Sabine among the people who made day 2. Those Kiras were beating Sabine, so...
that was one of my losses this weekend. Was it 0-2 to Kira? I did feel like I played the end of the first game really poorly, but I got smoked the second game. And it's really hard to navigate as Sabine. Like
33 point.
It's really hard to.
It was.
I lost to Kira Data Vault, and it was a guy on Woo's list. He's in our community as well, but it was just really. It was. You're just not making a dent. You know, you get off to this big lead, and then your stuff gets deleted. There's tons of Sentinels. You get ramped, and you just recognize that if overwhelming barrage happens, you're just basically completely screwed.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, they can just sort of 1-in-1 you, and then there's reinforcement walkers, invaders, and mauls, and it's just so hard to get there. And it's really, one thing I will say is, like, I think you just have to kind of embrace the variance of, like, if you play a Chewie and they have a no glory, like, it just is what it is. Like, you can certainly play it to minimize, like, you know, to maximize your percentages on, like, the correct lines, right? But so hard to navigate that matchup.
Yeah, I think a lot of decks struggle into Kira. I don't know what's really feeling good against it right now.
We worked on the list with Woo and Tata played it and like top 8'd, and that was like in the infancy of it. And now you've got like more evolution of like the Death Trooper Sentinel, the 3/5 Sentinel. We're talking about in our group, we're talking about like adding more units maybe even, and like cutting some removal spells. And like I know people were saying that like the Ray might beat it and grind it, but like I don't think it's going to be a bad matchup for Kira where it's like, oh crap. I think that's one that they can figure out from the Kira perspective. I have my internal thoughts about what you need to do. Like the Ray deck is kind of built to make removal bad. So if you cut a few removal spells and you play units that are just like really, really solid in the middle game, like maybe an extra Long Pike, maybe like you never resource that flying saucer card. that card's
devastating
insane.
gunship.
I mean, they
I
like
couldn't
play
think of the gunship
something
name today
and,
too
like,
on my video.
And like, you flip and you always gunship something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that's just good value, and you don't have to take down. Like I agree, Mike. I think Kira World. I think Maddie. I agree. I think so. I'm same decks for me. I'm looking at Kira. I'm looking at Han Green. I'm exploring Han Green Data Vault just because I'm trying to say, all right, best leaders, Han. Best base Data Vault. Let's see what happens when
I'm
you
kind
play
of in the
six.
same boat there.
Yeah, I think we've all
Hans
been
and-
working on it independently in different ways. Yeah.
Right. And then Sabine, I'm trying to figure out this space angle with the Adelphis and like see if it has enough legs. The problem with the Sabine is like I find it too frequently like even if everything goes right, the game still slips away against Kira sometimes.
Yeah.
Like even if you go A-wing into Sabine's masterpiece into like a green space, like a bright hook, something where you have your Sabine engine on and you're all in space, they still draw the barrage and they get you, or they still just have like the right pattern of like power into ramp into like just nipping you out, and then they play infinite reinforcement walkers. Like I wish there was a green card that just straight up won the game at the end of the game. There isn't. Like maybe Ewing reinforcement, but like you know what I mean. Like there isn't like a
Endless
card
Legions.
there isn't like reinforcement walker basically ends the game. Like there's not like a unit that says like when it attacks do 3 damage. You know what I mean? Like there's like a 6/9 like type of thing like that. There isn't.
Maybe,
I
maybe
guess
we need to dig
Wrecker
deep.
is
Maybe we
kinda
need to look
that,
at something that like, I don't know, like anti-heal, maybe something like that attacks twice. Maybe just like really go deep in the draft chaff and see if we can't find anything that works and constructed.
Dogfight.
Or a Sing.
The other card?
I don't remember what she does, but I think she can untap.
She can untap if their base gets attacked. Yeah.
I've got deep, man. I've got like Spark of Hopes. I had that. I was like, listen, let's play a Spark of Hope. Let's play Dispatch or Spark of Hope. That was a combo that I was looking at. I was just like, how do you
You've
been
get in the weeds, man.
I've been in the weeds with this. Like, do we ramp to? They kill our turn 1. We're happy about it because we get to ramp and flip our leader. But no, it's not. It's not good.
Yeah. So if you're going to a PQ this weekend, I think the choice is probably Kira. Like, I think that's probably in a vacuum strong. If you think you have an angle on beating Kira, maybe you have an angle for the mirror. I'd feel really good about that. I would expect Kira to be the deck to beat, even though it didn't win Leil, even though I don't know if it won any PQs this weekend, but it just seems like it's the thing. It just seems like it's the deck that a lot of good players are on, and it has a lot of the answers you need.
Yeah, it's like the Han. It's like the Han deck, similar. It's different than like set 3 Han, but it's like the deck that sort of feels like it plays the best cards.
But it's easier to play than the Han deck. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's not that complicated. I mean, obviously you have to play tight, and there are some very complicated lines to know and benefit from. But like, you can just go out there and remove all their stuff, play Super Laser Blast, play a Walker, and be like, "Oh, I won."
Well, I'll tell you, like any deck, like all these decks that play Data Vault that aren't Kira and aren't Rey and like grinding out, they're just like I've seen some Anakin decks and like even that Sabine that I guess it beats some Kiras, but like these 33 sort of I'll play these good units and I'll just keep curving. Like those seem so good for Kira's matchups because you're not under pressure of like the ECL. The life total doesn't really matter, and you're just like, you play something, power the dark side. You play someone else. All right, you know what? That's fine. I'll resupply because I'm gonna be able to flip and delete things. Oh yeah, you amass something, Super Laser Blast, Barrage. Like you're just playing that game. Like I built an Anakin Data Vault deck, and I was like, this deck's winning. It's crushing. This is awesome. And then I played against Kira Data Vault, and I was like, nope, this deck, there's zero chance of playing this deck because it just plays a few units and like can't beat Super Laser Blast, doesn't draw any cards.
Don't look, Mike. Guess how many PQs Kira Data Vault won last weekend? It's more than 0.
Okay. 2.
Justin?
1.
6. Won 6 PQs last weekend.
Wait, there were only 13.
Yeah,
it won Santiago on the 4th. It won
Santiago, Chile?
Cardiff. Yeah. It won Cardiff. It won Stuttgart. It won Genova. It won Spring Lake. It won Fresno.
That's
and
insane.
that's all like at least 50 people, some 70.
Lost
some
in the
whatever.
finals of ours.
All right,
like,
I take it back. It won everything. Keep playing it.
Yeah, that's a pretty insane
best
clip.
way.
Six.
Here's-
I didn't know either.
Here's the thing that I'm most shocked about with the Sabine Data Vault that won and that it beat the Kira's. Because the thing I'm thinking, Justin, while you were talking about like why Kira is better in these Data Vault mirrors is because like there's just not enough smuggle where like if you could stop resourcing at like 6, 7 and then just smuggle everything because there was infinite smuggle and like the like true Alex Han move, which is like, well, every time I smuggle I draw a card, so like I'm always gonna smuggle. But like that Sabine should have just played tech. And then it does have all smuggle. Then its whole deck is
you
smuggle.
could do that.
So that actually seems crazy right now.
I got absolutely owned by my 7-year-old today. We're walking out of soccer practice.
Sabine did about tech.
He goes, man, if resupply had smuggle, it'd be so good. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that wouldn't do anything at all. I'm like, think about the card. Like, and I'm like actually getting a little annoyed. I'm like, no, think about it. He's like, Dad, you would replace. And I'm like,
Kids, man.
Okay.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of cool. Like,
I definitely have a higher win rate in Pokemon TCG Pocket when Juliet is over my shoulder, reminding me of weaknesses and strengths and stuff.
That's sick.
And like Jacob was just like, oh. my 10-year-old, my 10-year-old in the background, like mic drop.
Have you ever played a resupply after like with tech?
I don't know.
It's insane. I've actually done it. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: if you're on this Data Vault, Sabine, put tech in.
Crazy.
That
I didn't even
seems
realize
great.
it because I'd always just been like, oh yeah, these resupplies, I'm never going to use them, but that actually works with tech. So now I'm like, kind of mind blown.
All right,
The reason I've ever done that is because I played, I know we're going long, a Hunter green deck with tech and command,
Hunter.
and I like fucking played command, so you would like put it back, you'd like or you'd put a card back into your shit, and then you'd ramp, and it was so good. So you could keep commanding because you'd put it back into your row, so you could like do 2 things for 6. It was good.
Yeah, if you're going to PQ, play Kira. It's the best deck. Practice with it. Well, I will tell you this.
Hantu.
It's the deck that like you get out of. It's like for those people who played Magic and you played like the sort of control-y Sphinx's Revelation decks about 10 years ago. You survive after turn 4. The first 4 turns of the game. You're gonna beat the aggro decks, and then like the mid-range decks you own anyway. So that's the way this deck feels. Like, if you survive against the decks that are playing, like, all 1-drops and 2-drops and attacking your face and doing crazy stuff, you're going to get there. So you just need to navigate those first couple turns. So just, like, maximize the ability to not fall behind, and you'll probably win your PQ.
Sounds good.
That's a good point.
All right. Good luck. Post in events results only. Let us know that you won. No other chatter in there.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you next week.